Today, we are Scrum chatting about why Scrum is awesome. Let's do this.
I think that Scrum is awesome. And one of the reasons it's helped me personally is that Scrum really focuses on getting stuff done rather than getting tasks done. So that focus on getting the product done, breaking the product down into smaller features, and then making sure that those are done in a much shorter timescale, I've found really useful.
With Scrum, you seem to know where you are, what's done, what's not done, what we're doing next. It gives us that kind of visibility.
Visibility or transparency.
Transparency is a good word.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. In the more traditional project management, it was all about ticking boxes. So you know that you'd got 90% of the task done, but that wouldn't really tell you how done you were in terms of developing the overall product. But with Scrum, you know when you've done a set of features, they are done. Now, the stakeholders might change their minds. You might get feedback. Things externally might change, but you've got a much better understanding of where you are. So that raised transparency on where you are in your development of the product. Again, hugely useful. So that's me. What about you? What do you find awesome about Scrum?
One thing I find awesome about Scrum is that it keeps us on our toes. We all enjoy getting better at what we do, and we don't like mundane stuff. Scrum forces us to get creative, try new stuff, get us outside of our comfort zone and learn new skills. If we think about each role in Scrum, say, like the Scrum Master is constantly looking at what the team is doing, responding to changes within the team, looking for patterns. And we can't predict what those patterns are. So we have to be responsive and think on our feet. Development team members are constantly finding new ways to get their work done. The way we do a task today could look totally different from the way we do it 2 weeks from now, because we found new and better ways to do it. So we're continuously improving. The product owner, what he thought the product was going to do right at the start, after getting a bunch of feedback from the customer, can change as we go along. So each role has to stay on their toes and adapt. And I find that quite exciting within Scrum. It takes the mundaneness out of our day-to-day work.
I think some people struggle with this, but I like being held accountable. I'm responsible for making the estimates, or the team's responsible for making the estimates in terms of what we can do. And then if we don't actually get that done, we're accountable for that. We need to have that conversation about why it didn't get done, because we've got all the tools, we've got all the skills, we've got the responsibility, so we can be held accountable. And as you say, I think that keeps the team on its toes. It's a good thing.
Yeah, for the people doing the work, it gives us more buy-in to what we're doing. Everyone likes to have autonomy, mastery, and purpose over their work. And Scrum gives us this ability to control what we do. We have an input into what work we're doing. And we control how we do it. We've got a say in how we get that done in the best possible way. It just makes us better at doing our stuff. And everyone wants to get better at doing their thing. They want that mastery.
We all like to be better at doing our stuff.
Yeah.
So do you think it makes it more fun? Do you think it gives you more freedom about how you do your stuff?
I think it definitely makes it more fun because we're finding new ways to get better. And there's a sense of satisfaction about improving. If you think about like a hobby in your day-to-day life, the reason we do hobbies is to get better at that thing. It's enjoyable. Improving is satisfying and fun. And I think Scrum does give us that fun. This drive to improve, pushing it outside of our comfort zone, makes our work fun. Yeah, absolutely.
But also in terms of how the team approach finding their solutions. I think that the fact that we're constantly being driven towards the next sprint review does encourage us to be more creative, more flexible.
And this embracing creativity and also not being afraid to fail is really enjoyable. In traditional some sort of work settings, often failure is viewed as bad, so people don't try new stuff. They find one thing that works, that doesn't fail, and they stick to that. That's the way of doing it over and over again. Scrum gives us this permission to try new stuff, and it might fail, which is fine, but also it might be better than the way we were doing it before, and that's immensely satisfying.
So another thing that I found awesome about Scrum is the clear separation of responsibilities between what we're doing and how we're doing it. Before, if you're working in an unstructured team, you typically get stakeholders coming up to you with constant requests. Can you just do this? Can you Can you just get this done by the end of the week? Can we add this into the current increment or whatever? But now having those separation of responsibilities, it's the product owner who's responsible for the order or the prioritization of work. And so the team are given permission, as you'd say, to push back and say, we can constantly change, but it means we're not going to get what we agreed done. I've personally found that incredibly useful. So the Scrum events drive collaboration. A lot of people, when they start Scrum, will kind of push back. They'll say, well, it's a lot of meetings. I don't have time for your silly 15-minute meeting every day. But I've found that these events drive collaboration. The fact that the team have the daily Scrum, that they have this opportunity to step back and look at their plan, the fact that we have the sprint review where the purpose is for everyone to give feedback, all of these events drive collaboration. As you say, they give people permission to speak up and question the decisions, even though ultimately the responsibility lies with the product owner. We're all a little bit more involved. I think that Scrum teams are less likely to be just throwing stuff over the wall and saying that's done enough. And I think they really will be focused on getting stuff done to a higher level of quality.
People who are proud of their work, highly skilled developers, like to focus on quality rather than being pushed to deliver more faster. So something that's awesome about Scrum is this focus on quality.
And they also like building the right stuff rather than building stuff which they know isn't what the stakeholders want.
And that's something that's awesome about Scrum. It gives us this permission to do that. Did I say permission again? Whoops.
One of the things that I love about Scrum is that it's a framework. It's not a methodology. It's not a prescribed series of steps. Your team have to work out their version of Scrum, their methodology of Scrum. The Scrum framework is just a starting point. A lot of people see this as a disadvantage. I see it as an advantage because every team will start off with Scrum and then they'll go on to Scrum and what technical practices will they add to Scrum, which will take it to the next level.
Something that's awesome about Scrum too is how much interest it generates in the organization. A team starts doing Scrum and they'll get their Scrum board, their Kanban board up and running, and they'll start talking about events and that kind of thing. And it naturally generates interest from other teams who are working around them. Teams are coming over and saying, hey, what are you doing? What's this daily stand-up thing that you're doing? And other teams become interested. It draws people in and they're intrigued by this. And then they want to start doing some of this stuff usually. So the way that it propagates and spreads throughout the organization naturally and organically from teams seeing the other way teams work and seeing the outcomes of that is really awesome too. And then Scrum Masters can help promote that growth and push that out into the organization.
Yeah, I've seen that myself from the first Scrum team having the daily Scrums. Other teams will be interested, as you say, what's that you're doing? Why are you having that huddle around the board? Why are you moving sticky notes? And they're seeing the collaboration, they're seeing the teamwork. And there's obviously a real interest in transforming groups of individuals into real teams. I think that's what's awesome about Scrum. My number one reason for thinking Scrum is awesome is that you're encouraged to raise transparency. And not just transparency about progress, but also transparency on problems. For so long in IT, we've hidden away problems and issues from the decision makers. And Scrum really encourages teams to stop doing that, turn that on its head, and be more open and honest so that the right people can solve the right problems.
Wow.
Scrum chat.